right, hello everybody. I have been getting a lot of questions as everybody's working on makeup work about the Defending Whitman project, and it seems like some people haven't done it yet because they're just not understanding what to do. So I wanted to go over the notes, the Defending Whitman assignment from April 15th, and then the Defending Whitman project assignment. So the first thing that you want to do, if you haven't yet, is complete the book work in the ebook, because you're not going to understand this if you haven't done the book work. So that's number one. Do that first. Second, once you've finished all 4 sections of the book work, then you can do this assignment. This is the Defending Whitman notes assignment. So now that we've read 4 sections from Whitman's Song of Myself, I want us to spend some time examining these poems through a certain lens. That lens being that Whitman has been accused of being an egotist, or overly focused on himself, by some readers of his poetry. For this assignment, you're going to use your reading of the selection from Song of Myself to defend him against this charge. So you're going to be writing a defense of Walt Whitman against the claim that he is an egotist and very full of himself. Okay, so the chart that you are going to end up doing looks like this. So I've made this for you. The instructions are to finish the claim below by filling in what Whitman's poetry focuses on, and then fill in the rest of the chart using quotes from Song of Myself, using at least 3 of the 4 sections we read, and then your own reasoning to support the claim you create. So it's a lot of things to do, but first thing is you want to figure out your claim. So we're saying that Whitman is not an egotist, but we have to say what he is. So if you're saying he's not an egotist, his poetry does not focus too much on himself, then what does his poetry focus on? Tell me that right here. Finish this claim, because you're going to need that for your defense, and this is 10 points of this assignment. So you want to make sure you finish your claim here. And then once you figure out your claim, if you're saying his poetry focuses on nature, it focuses on empathizing with other people, it focuses on being part of something bigger than himself, then you want to be pulling quotes from the 4 sections that we read, sections 1, 6, 33, and 52, and you want to put them here in support of the claim that you've written. So, for example, if I'm saying his poetry, he's not an egotist because his poetry focuses on reaching out to his audience, then I want to look at the poems that we read and find quotes that support that claim. So I could, for example, pick a quote from this first section. I could even just go with this quote: "For every atom belonging to me as good belongs to you." So I could write that over here, right here, make sure you put quotation marks. "For every atom belonging to me as good belongs to you." And that's from section 1, and that is line 3. So I want to make sure I include those as well. So my reasoning could be something like this quote shows that Whitman thinks about his audience while writing, and also in his everyday life. So that's just something small that took me 2 seconds to write, but it gives me an idea of what I want to write about and what I would talk about with this quote. So then I would go, and this would support my claim that his poetry focuses on reaching out to his audience, right? The fact that he addresses the reader here shows that he thinks about the audience in his writing, and the fact, which supports the claim, that he reaches out to his audience with his writing, and it kind of shows a greater point that he must be thinking about other people in his everyday life because he's reflecting on it in a poem. So that supports my claim, and it defends him against the claim that he's an egotist, right? So that's what you're doing with this chart. All you're doing is finding 4 quotes. You want to pull from at least 3 of the sections. So you can, if you have 2 quotes from section 1 that you want to use, that's fine. Just make sure you also use 2 other sections. What I want to avoid here is you pulling 4 quotes from section 1, and that's it. I want you to use multiple sections so that you're using all of the material that we covered and not just one poem or one section of the poem, okay? So once you finish this, you have almost all of the notes for the next assignment. In the next assignment, the Defending Whitman project from last week, you're going to be looking at writing a defense of Whitman. So now that you've gotten together some notes in defense of Whitman, you're going to write up and deliver an oral defense. So your written defense is imperative to this project because it will serve as your script for your oral defense. So your written defense should be no less than 300 words. 300 words is like a page. It's really not that much. And you should use your notes from the Defending Whitman chart to help you write your defense. Your defense should include your claim, the 4 quotes you found to support your claim, and the reasoning you provided for how those quotes defend Whitman against the claim that he's an egotist. So you have the meat of this assignment already. You have your claim right here. I wrote half of it for you. So you have your claim right here. And then you have that, you can just copy and paste really. And then you have all of your quotes. Once you've completed this chart, you've got your quotes lined up and you've got your reasoning for why you're including them and how they defend Whitman against the claim that he's an egotist. So you've got like 75% of the work done, right? But I have this note here that says your written defense should not be just you retyping your notes, right? You need to add some connecting tissue to string together your ideas and include an opening line to grab your reader's attention and a closing line that leaves them thinking. This is a small written defense. It's not a 5-paragraph essay. I don't want a 5-paragraph essay. So you're not so worried about having like a full-blown intro and conclusion, but you do want a sentence or two that leads your audience into your defense, and you want a couple of sentences to wrap it up when you're done. And if you're having a hard time, if you just like really don't know where to start, I would suggest just asking yourself, how do I know that Whitman isn't an egotist? How do I know that Whitman isn't full of himself? And then just start typing and see what comes out, because then you can go back in and add the quotes, or you might just end up like stealing chunks from that like brainstorm that you write down. But you have those notes, so use those notes because that is 75% of the work done already. And then once you've written that defense, you're going to record it. So you can use this link right here that I've included that pulls you up to an online voice recorder. You can use voice memos on your phone, whatever works, but you're going to record yourself reading your defense. So I would recommend practicing it a couple times so you know where to put emphasis. Maybe also practice saying the word egotist a few times. If you can shut yourself in a closet or in a room where no one else is so that you can avoid background noise. But obviously I know we're all at home with our families and stuff, so if things are noisy, I'm not super worried about it. It doesn't have to be a perfect recording. I'm not going to take off points for quality of recording, but I do want you to record yourself reading what you've written. Make sure that you read at a steady pace and that you're speaking as clearly as possible. And make sure you test your audio on your voice memo or on the online recorder. Don't just start recording your whole thing, because then if you get to the end and it didn't work, then you just lost that take. So make sure you test your audio first, make sure that your device works to record, and then go ahead and record your whole thing. When you're done, you'll upload your written statement and your audio recording to this assignment, or you can email it to me. My email is in that syllabus document in our files, our class files, if you need that. Or you can message me on Reminder Focus and I'll give you my email. And that's about it. If you have any questions after watching this video, then shoot me a message on Remind or shoot me a message in Focus. But hopefully hearing me explain it and having me walk you through how to do the notes helped you to better understand what we're doing here.